Alright, what's up guys? So we have another replay today, and today it's going to be replay of a Katarina main named Creammon. He has a challenger before. He's one of the best Katarinas in the current server, and right now he is versing a Tristana, which is a very hard counter matchup. So he took the Electrocute Resolve, and he also took Exhaust. So the Bone Plating is going to help him live a lot of Tristana's poke and damage. And also with the exhaust, I'm guessing he's going to use it more for survivability to make sure he doesn't die. Because once you lose like a huge advantage in this lane, like let's say you get solo killed just off of the pure damage that Tristana can deal, the lane's going to be really, really rough. But even if he doesn't die, like the lane also still sucks. Because Tristana just has so much advantage over Katarina in the laning phase. Tristana's laning phase is actually very strong, and she could punish you so hard for just dying, for moving out of lane and roaming, because she has such strong pushing power that like she could clear waves really fast, and she could also destroy towers really fast and get a lot of plating. And on top of that, she could also like jump in on you and chunk you really hard with the E, and it's just such a hard matchup for Katarina. But let's just see how this plays out. So Electrocute I think is a good move here. I think it's a safe option because you don't need a lot to proc it, and that little extra damage is good just to like win out trades and pressure, especially against someone like Tristana, where you have to like go in and out really quick or else she's gonna start out damaging you. Right now the enemy team is inside their jungle taking the red from Kiana. So what he decides to do is just shove in the wave. I say this is pretty good. It helps you get the minions, and because he was in a safe spot to just push, he's able to just shove in the wave, get the minions for free. And also, like, they're going to hit two at the same time, or very similar time. And so that does relieve some pressure, and it gives him some way of fighting back once they hit two. Because Tristana, level 2, she could just jump in and just chunk you for free. It's really annoying. Lee Sin's mid with Kiana's red. He's going to go to his red. Tristana jumps in. The bone plating mitigates damage. The exhaust mitigates the E damage from Tristana. And the trade's not too bad. But one summoner down, which does kind of suck. But Tristana does use a lot of mana for that. Notice that he did opt into the D shield here. This is just to survive. He's just trying to survive, that's all. Because his lane is terrible. But also, the lane's pushing in. Tristana is a champion that naturally just pushes in. So he's just going to wait for the wave to push in. It's already pushing into him with the giant wave that she has. And so he doesn't have to do anything crazy. But we know Lee Sin's topside here. Now he's just going to try to secure the wave. Secure the minions here. Tristana actually doesn't do too much damage without the E. But once Tristana puts the E on you and procs the Hail of Blades, it's a lot of damage from there. So now he's just shoving in the wave here, just making sure he shoves it as quick as possible, but at the same time trying to get the minions, which is pretty hard with Katarina sometimes, especially if you don't have the AD. But I guess you have a little bit of an extra help with the D shield. Now again, Tristana just looking to shove, 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 and just look for plays on the map. That's literally what they do. And if they see you make a mistake, they will jump in on you and try to like chunk you out. And that will make it even harder for you to do anything in the lane. So you got to play really careful in this lane. Lee Sin's here. Tristana jumps in. Leona's mid. So with Leona being Mia, and also with the river and the around the mid lane being so dark, you have to play back. You have to play safe. Because you don't really have the knowledge to walk up and play aggressive. Okay, so he shoves in the wave. Lee Sin is topside. Okay, so as you can see, like Tristana's game plan, from the way she's playing right now, she's just shoving and moving. Shoving, moving, shoving, moving. And there's really not much Katarina can do about that. So that's why it's such a hard counter matchup, because this allows Tristana to just hard pressure the map, right? Now we see Tristana TP, and we see the Graves TP bottom, and he's going to TP to follow. But the fight's already lost. Tristana got 2 kills. She's about to get a 3rd one, and he just has to leave. So this is a terrible, terrible spot. Tristana's 3-0. Katarina just uses TP and doesn't really get anything out of it. Just has to leave. And now we have to deal with the fed Trist in the mid lane. What he opts to buy here is the Dark Seal, the boots, and the refill pots. The Dark Seal can have a lot of value for the gold. It's like 350, but it can stack up. So you're just looking to stack up this Dark Seal and try to get the most value out of it. And it actually gives you a lot of value for the gold that you spend on it, right? Now we see MF in the mid lane. While MF's just like hitting him. He's gonna go up here and get the plant. Health is just a really, really crucial resource in the mid lane, because if you're like at half health or if you're lower, then like it gives enemies so much leeway to do stuff. Like they can even like open up a solo kill on you, or like this Triss is doing, even without like you being chunked, like just move around the map constantly, right? And that's the one thing annoying about Triss. Like she could just shove you in and roam, and there's nothing you can really do about it. But right now, Tristana roam bot and is looking to dive. So they dive the Jhin, kill him, but he's gonna follow the roam here. From his screen, he probably saw how the dive went, and so he used that knowledge to follow the roam. But in situations like these, you need to make sure that you understand like what's more worth it. Is it more worth it for you to stay in lane, or is it worth it for you to follow the roam? Because let's say you don't get anything off of this roam, right? Then what happens is, like, you don't make Tristana lose anything, you don't get anything, and Tristana ends up getting something from the roam. So, like, overall, you lose out, because Tristana gets an advantage and you don't. What you could do by staying in mid lane is just like shoving in the wave and making them lose the wave at least, and maybe get a plating. So let's see what he decides to buy here. So he gets the Sword Shoes, he gets the Amp Tome, and he gets a pink ward. Sword Shoes first buy, I think it's pretty good for the movement speed, especially considering like how Tristana is playing. Like you want to have that option to follow the roams with the extra movement speed that you have, right? So he goes back into lane against this 4-1 Trist. Half of a shield bow. He uses E, right? All right, now watch this. He immediately jumps in on the Trist. Gets aggressive. He has ult, so he's just gonna go in and ult. Notice he didn't burn the ult like too quick. He used his normal abilities, QEW, to follow the jump, to cover the jump, and then he used his last jump to go in and ult. And that's crazy, right? Tristana was 4-1, but he knew that Tristana didn't have ult, probably from the way like he was looking at the map before, during that dive. He probably knew that Tristana was down cooldowns. And also he used the E on the Katarina and didn't get anything out of it. So ult down, E down, that's your opening to go in and pressure. So he sees Lee Sin taking the rift. He sees Kiana on the Graves. He goes in for the Graves instead. Now going on the Lee Sin could have been risky. He doesn't really have the damage right now to like instantly nuke the Lee Sin. His ult is down as well, but it just came up. And also like Tristana could have been there. Leona is making her way up, so. Oh, but he sees the Lee Sin here. Lee Sin kicks. Kills the Lee Sin. Tristana's in the river. Now he's just going to shove this wave in. Now MF's alone in the bot lane at the moment. Tristana and Leona are in the mid lane. So Katarina looks like she's going down to try to kill the MF. They could even potentially dive her but MF saw that and just walked right back. And now he's going to walk back as well. Leona's still around mid lane. Now we have a Tristana 5-2 with double buffs. You don't really want to contest that. Tristana does go for the TP bot here though. Now, Cremon is given a choice here. Do you go down or do you stay mid? Now here, unlike the other situation, he decides to stay mid. He probably saw the situation, bot lane, maybe the fight was already over, maybe he knew he couldn't get there in time, so he's just gonna stay mid. And now he's picking up platings, he's picking up the wave, he's making Tristana lose some minions, even though Tristana got a kill down there. But if you think about it in terms of the gold, Cremon actually gets a lot. Each plating was 160. He gets 3 platings and he gets a wave. It was 2 waves, including the cannon. And so he gets so much minions off of this, so much gold. And so it was so much more worth it for him to like stay mid. Now MF's covering mid. Tristana still Mia. Tristana and Lee Sin actually show themselves bottom, jumping in on the Jhin here. And now we have Leona and MF here. Now if MF was alone, maybe he could have done something, but it's just that risk, you know? Like Leona could have already been making her way up, which you can't really tell because there's no vision there. Dragon's up. It looks like the dragon's just free for the enemy team, and so you're just gonna give it up. The bot lane died again. You know, it's just what happens, right? When like one side of the map is like losing really hard. Like what can you do? The enemy play it out really well, and sometimes you just gotta give up objectives, right? Because Tristana roamed bot a lot. Katarina opted for the TP here, and Tristana ended up just like suiciding and not giving Katarina any kind of EXP. He goes back into the mid lane, sees the MF, tries to one-shot her. Doesn't one-shot her, but she does live. Ooh. Okay. Ah, so close. So close. But they end up losing the mid tower to the Rift. If you see here, actually, Cremon actually got Nashers just full out right before she TP'd, right? And like, before I was saying, like, in the previous video, Protobelt is probably the best first buy if you're going to go like Electric Q and if you're going to build it anyway. And a lot of it is because of the build path and you don't have to deal with this stupid recurve bow. But here, because he had the gold just to buy out the Nashers flat out, it's better because Nashers just gives you more raw damage. Unless you really value like the utility from Protobelt, the raw damage from Nashers is actually better here. Since his team is behind, he needs more damage to carry the game. You see, you spot the Leona there, you spot the Triss there. Kiana's trying to take the buff. Kiana ends up dying to the Triss. Tristana is huge with the shield bow and half of a Ginsu's. He had the Q set up. Goes in, jumps out. Jumps back in, ults, kill the Lee Sin. Gets the reset, goes back out. And that was pretty well played. The fact that he was able to go in and out, considering how strong the enemy team is, especially the Triss, the way he played it out, with Katarina going in and out and kind of avoiding danger, that's one really big thing about Kat. Now this is kind of unlucky. He planted to see if anybody was in the dragon pit, but it barely avoided the Leona, and so he didn't see the Leona there, and he tried to like kill the Triss, but that didn't work out. So that was pretty unlucky. And now he gets the alternator and he's looking for the Protobelt. So he's going to get the Protobelt next, and Protobelt is a great item for the flat pen. Sets up the Q, E's in, eat W's, ults, and then E's onto the MF. Let's see that again. So he walks in, Q's, sees the MF, waits for her to walk up a little bit, E, eat W, ult, E. Nice. So that was good because it's just a good representation of like Katarina's mobility, and MF was pretty overextended there. He didn't respect the Katarina. Tristana jumps in here, E's, and so he jumps in knowing that his team is around, and also the Yuumi baits it. Sadly they kill the Kiana, but they get the Leona here. Any kind of trade is fine here, honestly. So Graves was bottom and he does take the tower. Someone's TPing. Tristana's TPing. Gets instantly one shot. Kills the Lee Sin. Tahm Kench eats the Katarina. Make sure she stays alive. So that was just... That was kind of an in play from Tristana. I don't think she respected like Katarina damage. So they're going to keep advancing here. So unlucky. It looked like his Q was about to come out, but he couldn't get it out because Graves just... The full 5 bullets from the Graves just like popped him. Alright, so he bought his blasting wand and he's looking to go into the proto belt. He has the Yumi on him. Tristana's pretty strong. Dragon's coming up. Looks like they're gonna fight for this infernal drag. MF is in the mid lane. Are they gonna try to make a pick here? He E's, WQs, Tahm Kench goes in, immediately blows up the MF. Graves E's in. Ult. Boom. Damn, really well played. Really well played by his team. Also, Tristana is like pressuring the sides. And so like Tristana didn't have TP. They knew Tristana didn't have TP from the previous fight. And so they just went in on the 4v5, saw the opportunity, saw the enemy was overextended in a bad spot. And so they just take advantage of it. And Tahm Kench is just really good at like, you know, engaging those kind of fights. And they just take the dragon here. So they knew they had the numbers advantage. They knew their team was in place. So they just immediately went in and started that fight, and it was going to be a win. And it's just up to the Katarina to play it well. Because Katarina is the one that deals the damage for this team at the moment. So she goes bot. She does have TP as well. Clears the wave. You just want to keep the sides pushed. And teleport does help you do that. Now she sees the Graves here, but I don't think she can nuke him immediately there. I think that's why she's deciding not to fight that. And especially because like Katarina is the one with the bounty and she's 12-2. If she dies, the enemies are going to push as far as possible, like for you being dead. So you don't want to take that risk. Sometimes you have to measure that. But also his team was around like the proximity. So that was more of a risky play. And sometimes you don't want to take those kind of risks. But Tahm Kench does a good TP here. TP's behind the Graves. Now Katarina goes back bottom. Just goes to split, knowing that she has TP. And if anything happens, she could just TP into the fight. But side lane, just good for getting resources like solo EXP and just gold. And just keeping it pushed to pressure the enemy. He's TPing top lane. Oof. Damn. They just like nuked him down the moment he came in. It's unfortunate that he died, but he did try to put out as much damage as possible. Kiana throws the rift bottom, so they get the bot tower, but then they end up taking the top tower, so it's a trade. But at the same time, Katarina had a bounty to give, and they only traded Kat for Leona. So I guess like in terms of like gold, they actually didn't get as much. So I guess at the end, it's actually a loss. Now she's going into the Zhonya's. Now Zhonya's is a good buy here because first of all, it gives armor. They're all AD. And also it's going to help because they're going to try to focus you for sure. You're the carry of the team at the moment. So they're going to try to focus you hard and you want to be able to have an out for that. And also you have a Yumi on top of you, so it's going to be pretty hard for them to kill you. Okay, now we're all gathered up in the mid lane. Just keep the wave shoved. Tristana's around Baron. Looks like Cremon's gonna back here. Maybe he finishes Zanya's here. Yep. Okay, it's a pretty good buy. Pretty big buy here actually. He's gonna maybe get a pink. Yep. Using your W to like taking that time to like put your W out before you actually get the gold for like any item, and then just going back saves you just a little bit of time. Just a little trick. It looks like the enemy team is Baroning here. They're gonna go check. Porta belt's in. Q. E ult. Zanya's. Oh, that was a big Kiana stun. And a really nice Yumi ult. But he gets kicked and dies. He does die to... Okay. Tristana does die. There's... What? Lee Sin with Baron. Okay, so right now Lee Sin's the only one with Baron. Okay. Honestly, not bad. Not bad. Not bad of a fight. But I think Cremon messed up a little bit. I think that Zanya's was a little preemptive. I think if he was able to like see the combo with the Yumi ult and the Kiana ult, then he probably would have played around it. But, you know, it's kind of hard to coordinate those kind of things in solo queue. So I don't blame him. And also on top of that, he needs to stay alive as a carry. So I can see why he would like Zanya's there. But it could have been played a little bit better, I feel. But now Dragon's coming up. Lee Sin's with Baron for 2 minutes. Looks like there's a TP bottom. So Graves, is it Graves TP down? Now they're going to try to see what they can do here. Tristana's top. She has TP. It looks like they're giving it up. Okay, so they do give up the drag here. Honestly, drags aren't super important right now. But it will be later on. Okay, so Katarina goes bot, just shoves in the wave. Tristana's still pushing top. Stops the recall here. Ooh, puts the pink. He's trying to be a little sneaky on this Graves. Graves is level 14. I don't think he can actually just nuke him down though. He has shield bow, he has lifesteal. And he only has Portobello Nashers and then Azanya's. So like this build doesn't have a lot of damage to begin with. Ooh, but he sees the Graves and he decides to fight the Graves once Kiana is around. So that was again, just like a team-oriented play, a less risky play. And they were able to get the Graves here. Okay, so he goes into the Blighting Jewel. Looks like he's going into the Void Staff. So this is actually pretty good against the Triss, but also good against the Locket from Leona, because that also gives MR and armor to the people around. So just having that Void Staff is going to be good for, you know, just dealing damage to everybody around Leona, actually. So they sweep around this area. And they don't really have a clue, but they probably do to some degree. This is a very common situation you see here. It's like you have both ADCs push up, and then the team's just around. But Katarina goes in on the MF and just immediately one-shots her. Because, you know, Katarina. It's like, even though they were ready and potentially seeing like an opportunity to like bait it or at least get out safe with like the Lee Sin and the Leona around, it doesn't matter. Just because Katarina can assassinate so fast. She can gap close so quick. Ooh, WE to get over the wall. See where she's going. Graves was top just now. And he just kills the Leona real quick. So MF is down, Leona's down. Leona's down for 30, MF is up now. And it looks like the team's pushing in for the inhib. He teleports. I think he was thinking they were gonna like push him for the hib, but they don't really get anything out of it here. Now Graves is in the jungle. Looks like they're trying to pick him off. Katarina just waiting. Kiana dies. Let's see. Portobello QE. E onto the dagger. E onto that dagger. Tom Kench saves him. Okay, so that was actually well played. So let me show you exactly what I mean. The fight breaks out, right? So he knows Graves is one-shottable. Portobello QE. Immediately jumps in onto the Q dagger. Dodges the MFO. Hits all three of them with the dagger. Jumps back to the Tahm Kench, and the Tahm Kench saves her. And they were able to pick up 2 kills off that. That was a mechanical play that paid off really hard. The fact that he was able to E onto the Q dagger to avoid the MF ulti was huge. And that's why he was able to win out on that. So little plays like those can help you get advantages. Okay, so here, he sees the MF walk up, knows he's strong enough to just kill the MF. Q Zanya's, E's onto the Q. Tries to kill the Trist, but sadly goes down to the Trist, gives up the bounty. It's the wit's end. I think it was the wit's end. I don't think he was able to do enough damage because of it, which is kind of sad, right? Like, just even one wit's end can prevent you from dying. And so that's why you want to build voice stat for situations like those, especially against the Tristana here, who decided to build a wit's end, because Tristana is like the strongest player on their team right now. Alright, so here Graves actually ended up dying, and so they're gonna immediately go for the Baron here. Tahm Kench is actually huge. This guy is playing Tahm Kench, and he's going against a full AD team. And so he's going to be unkillable in this game, which is really nice to have. I think having him on the team as Katarina is like really nice, because you have someone to tank for you and deal that constant pressure for you. So it can kind of distract them from you. You know what I mean? Ooh, 2 people went into that bush. MF is there. Oh, they immediately jump in on the cat. Oh, wow. He dodged the Leona ult with the E, but I don't know if that was intentional. Okay, the low. Kicks him away. Nice, kills the Lee Sin. Oh. Ooh. Okay, well played. Well played fight. There's little mechanical things in that fight that actually helped him get kills. Let me show you. So the first thing he does here is proto belt in. And then he gets jumped on, right? Just to start something, but I don't agree exactly with the proto belt in, but whatever, he lived, right? And then here, Lee Sin goes in for the kick. He placed the W before the Lee Sin kicked, right? So he was able to jump back in, and he immediately QE ulted. So it gave him a position to go back into the fight even after being kicked by the Lee. And then they get the MF here. So that's another mechanical play that actually ended up winning the fight, right? And so he is now 20-5, and it looks like they're about to end the game. 4 of them are dead. Pretty big death timers. Lee Sin's up in 15, Leona's up in 8, Graves up in 30, MF up in 20, and they're just gonna push for the end. So this was actually a really good game to showcase, because he was in a very hard matchup, but you know, yeah, the matchup is hard, but as long as you play the map right and play around your team and play these fights right, you can actually still win the game and carry the game, even if the matchup is complete shit. Even if you're in a terrible spot. Tristana ended up getting a lot of kills early on. He just decided not to like interact with the Trist really until he saw an opportunity, like when he got that solo kill. And that's just knowing like cooldowns and knowing when you could actually jump in and when you're able to get aggressive. So with experience, you kind of just learn like what you can do and what you can't do, and what are the conditions you need to meet in order for you to go in. And so he caught that pretty well, and he was able to run with it. So it was a really solid game, and I think this was a good representation of playing in a shitty matchup but still being able to carry the game. Just knowing that like there are ways out of these matchups, and it's basically just map play, good decision making, stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something here. If you did, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to comment down below what you learned. And I appreciate you guys watching. I will catch you guys next time. Peace.